Capricorn season reminds us that magic does not always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels steady, patient, and deeply rooted in our root chakra. And this veil is magic. It's not flashy, it's not instant, but it's more permanent, right? We're talking about legacy. Welcome to Big Crystal Energy, Season 3, the Veil Season. I'm Ashley, and I live at the threshold. Between medicine and magic, between the visible world and what waits just beyond it, between the person I present and the witch I am. I've learned something. The in-between isn't a problem to solve. It's a place of power. This season, we're exploring the veil, where Victorian women spoke for the dead, where fairies guard the crossroads, where glamour becomes armor, where you stop apologizing for being both things at once. The crystals have always known the way through. Let me show you. Hello, hello, my beautiful, magical friends. Hello, I'm Ashley, and welcome back to Big Crystal Energy Season 3. And look what I have today. I have eyeglass chain. Is that what they're called? I don't know, but I'm just kind of thinking I'm loving this grandma vibe. And this chain I found has crystals on it. Is that not so adorable? Love it. It just kind of like elevates. It makes my glasses more opulent. How about that? So tonight we are going to be talking about Capricorn season. And I understand that we are already well into Capricorn season, but as the episodes needed to roll out, unfortunately, I couldn't get to this episode until now. So here we are, but I have this episode on Capricorn and then one more episode on Aquarius, and then we've made it through the whole entire zodiac. So if you happen to miss your zodiac sign, you can go back and find them because we've covered all of them and almost all of them, which is so exciting. But as I was doing a deep dive on Capricorn, I was loving it. I was loving the energy of it. I'm loving this whole like new year energy in general. So it was super fun to put this episode together. Also because I'm learning as well. I have learned so much about the zodiac. I was never someone that knew all that much about it. As a matter of fact, just to go off on a bit of a tangent, I actually scheduled myself a full natal chart reading that's going to be coming up later in January. So I can't wait to share about that because that's going to be so fun. I wanted to do one previously, but I could never pinpoint down my exact birth time. So my mom, obviously I was born, a few years back. And she thought it was I think she was thinking it was around 6:30 in the evening. Okay, fine. But if you know anything about astrology, the time actually does matter quite a lot. And so I got out my birth certificate, and of course, the little spot where the time is almost impossible to read. I was holding it up to the light. So finally what I ended up doing was I had my birth certificate and I took a photo of the birth certificate with my phone camera, and then I could actually see that I was born at 6:15 p.m. So now that I have all that information, I cannot wait to do this natal chart reading, and I will definitely be sharing more about that and the astrologer that I'm going to be working with. So that is very exciting. So stay tuned. I would love to hear if you've ever had your natal chart read, because I feel like it's going to be so insightful. Just like when I had my palm read, that was so cool. And all these other cool techniques that we can learn more about ourselves. I think it's just so fascinating. It's so fun. And I'm sorry if you hear screaming in the background because my children, per usual, are absolutely unhinged. Unhinged tonight, you guys. It is kind of awful. And it's late, and they probably should be in bed, but they're not. Also, I wanted to share my hubby on New Year's Eve got me this beautiful emerald ring. So lovely. Love it. I was like, oh my gosh, so sweet. You got it for me for the new year, for my crystal of the year. Love this ring so much. It's a little big, so I need to go get it sized because I don't really like wearing rings on my middle. I don't really want to wear this ring on my middle finger. I want to wear it on my ring finger. Anyway, who cares? Nobody cares. Anyway, so getting back to Capricorn season, Capricorn energy reveals itself slowly. It is not a season to be rushed. Within this season of Big Crystal Energy, I have explained to you that this is going to be the veil season, and this is something that is going to continue to evolve as this year progresses. I'm going to be doing lots of different types of episodes in regard to the veil energy. And the Friday after this episode comes out is going to be a whole deep dive into liminal spaces, the veil, what all of that means, and what that energy means for us as a collective this year. So the veil season is going to include things, like I said, liminal spaces, thresholds, and moments of becoming. So with that being said, Capricorn season doesn't announce itself. It just kind of settles in, right? So we come into Capricorn season before Christmas. So it kind of is this slow settling in through Christmas into the new year. And now here we are. And since this is the season of the podcast that is all about the veil, the space between who we were and who we're becoming is very key. And Capricorn really lives in that energy, right? So we go from who we were in the energy of the previous year to who we are becoming in the energy of the new year. So Capricorns, this season is all about kind of this quiet magic that's starting to unfold. Capricorn is all about playing the long game, right? So the theme of this year is something that's going to continue to develop out over the course of the year. We're just starting with it in this Capricorn energy. And it's this initiation of whatever it is that we're doing through consistency over time. So let's just get into some of the astrological foundations of this season. So technically the dates of Capricorn season are December 21st through January 19th. The element is earth. The modality is cardinal. It's an initiator, it's a builder, and its ruling planet is Saturn. I like to look at this particular oracle card that I have, and it has some of these different elements of Capricorn season. So if you're looking on YouTube, I love this card. Capricorn governs things such as career, vocation, responsibility, reputation, mastery, legacy. Saturn rules time itself, is very liminal. We're thinking about our past efforts, our present responsibility, and then the future reward, the legacy of whatever it is that we're building now. So Capricorn isn't about status, it's more about stewardship. What are you willing to tend long after the excitement wears off? So we can think about that in terms of we often get very excited about the new year and creating our vision boards and the things that we want for the new year. But as we know, many people that set New Year's resolutions and things like that, usually by February, those things already start to wear off. That New Year excitement starts to fade over time. So how do we continue to carry that energy forward? And that's definitely something that is really important to think about this time of year, because it's very easy to get caught up in the New Year excitement. And a lot of us have big goals. And how do we stay excited about our goals? So Capricorns, just like every other zodiac sign, we have multiple sides to their expression, essentially. So the light side of a Capricorn, we're thinking about endurance, emotional strength, reliability, leadership earned through experience, devotion to what matters. Think about the people in your life that you know are Capricorns. They're usually very driven, very, very goal oriented. They get shit done, right? At least the ones I know, for the most part. But the shadow side of it is that they can overdo it, right? We have workaholics. They can tend to be rigid. They can have issues with emotional suppression. Their self-worth is often tied to their productivity. If they feel that if they ever give themselves time to slow down, then that makes them fear that they will fail. Capricorns, it's not that they're unemotional, it's just that they contain their emotion. Sometimes they have a hard time expressing their emotion. And containment sometimes can be considered a liminal act. We sometimes know how we feel, and then it gets kind of stuck in this liminal area, and then sometimes it can be hard for us to express it. So Capricorns often teach us how to hold emotion without leaking that energy everywhere, right? Because we're thinking about other signs where they're very emotional and their energy and emotions just spill everywhere constantly. But Capricorns are not quite like that. So another interesting aspect of Capricorn is the symbolism, the sea goat. I want to pull up a picture of it. I was just like, where can I find a picture of it? So I have this book. There's the sea goat. It's literally like the goat who turns into a mermaid. It's not just this mountain goat, right? You have the mountain goat energy, right? You think about those mountain goats that are you see them on the side of the mountain there. They like crawl up all these crazy little teeny tiny paths, and then they're just like teetering on the side of this wall of rock. And you're just like, how did they get up there? And how do they stand there? And how do they maintain their composure? Right. So they're very ambitious. They have that discipline. They have mastery. They have balance. And that's very earthy energy. Whereas on the other side, you have the fish energy, right? Which is their intuition. They do have emotional depth. They have this whole inner world. It's like this mythical with the earthy. And I think that's what's so cool about Capricorn. And it's really a threshold energy. If you think about it, they're moving between the land and the sea, and between this material structure and more emotional. You have life's hard structures, and then you also have intuition. So I think the sea goat is a very liminal being. And because the sea goat doesn't belong to one world, the sea goat is of the land and the sea goat is of the water. And Capricorn magic is very slow. It's very earned. It's initiatory. It's a transformational energy over time. Capricorn season is the veil between intention and manifestation, right? So we set our intentions at the first part of Capricorn season, and then we work towards manifesting them as the season progresses, right? Because a lot of us make our vision boards and we set our goals, but then it's like, now how do we manifest those things to come true? I think we can also think about Saturn, right? So Capricorn season is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is this guardian of the threshold, right? Saturn is this boundary. It's a symbol of consequence. It's a symbol of devotion. It's a karmic teacher. And Capricorn is really the gatekeeper. Sagittarius opens the door, and then Capricorn stands in that doorway. So here's kind of another reframe that I was thinking about when I was putting the episode together. If Sagittarius asks what's possible, Capricorn will ask what are you willing to commit to? And this is initiation energy. This is not anything fantasy or fantastical. Those of us like myself I'm a Sagittarius, and I'm always thinking about like, what's possible? What can I do? What do I want to do? But then as we transit, and I've been very hyped up on all those things, but now as we transition into the new year, I'm thinking, okay, so what's the practical aspect of this? How do I actually, all these things? I made my 2026 bingo card, and I'm working on my Pinterest board, and I've got my 21-day manifesting challenge going on. And it's like, how do I weave all this stuff together to actually make something happen? Because it's one thing to have all these wants and desires. It's one thing to be making the vision board and having fun doing all these little projects. But then what do you do with all of that, right? So with Capricorn, there's two main tarot cards that are often associated with this season. So I will show you. I have number one is the Devil card. You have the goat head on the body here. And this is the major arcana card of this season. And it's not about evil. It's about attachments. It's about contracts. It's about power dynamics. It's about systems we stay bound to willingly. I mean, you can see in the card, you have the devil here, and then you've got these people, and they're bound and they're locked together. And then you also have duality here. You have female, male. Pretty iconic card. And the devil shows like what keeps us from crossing that threshold, right? That sometimes there's this sense of false safety. There can be this fear-based loyalty. So when we're working with the devil during the devil's card during this season, we want to think about, where am I trading my freedom for security? What structure once protected me but now confines me? I think about that a lot with my regular work, right? It's like, I would love to have the freedom of just leaving my regular job behind, since I've been doing for so long, and just focusing solely on building the podcast and building online courses and all these different things. But there is that sense of security that I have in my regular job, because it is something where I can expect a paycheck. I can expect health insurance. I can expect certain things, my retirement, all of that. But then it's like, but that also doesn't allow me to have the freedom that I want. So it's that kind of that balance between the two. The other card that we see a lot with this season is the 10 of Pentacles. And this is the card of legacy, of conscious structure. This card is all about generational wealth. We have emotion, which is many things, not just financial. It can be emotional, spiritual, material. We're talking about family systems with this card. We're talking about sustainability, that long-term stability. It's kind of the contrast, right? So you have the Devil card, which is the unconscious binding, and then you have the 10 of Pentacles, which is the intentional structure. So Capricorn also teaches us that not all structures are prisons, right? Some are sanctuaries, actually. Sometimes when we have things in our life that is very structured, it can actually feel like freedom. For example, I was thinking, in the past, I used to be, several years ago, I used to post a lot on my social media about health and wellness. And I was very structured in my nutrition. I was very structured in my workout routines. And it almost felt like a freedom, because I knew what kinds of foods I was always going to eat. I knew what my workouts were going to be. I never really had to think about those things. And truthfully, the further I've gotten away from having structure in that, the more challenging it feels. So in that time and in that space, it did feel like a sanctuary for me, because I was very regimented. So if that makes sense to you, maybe. I want to offer a 3-card tarot spread, and I just decided to call it the Sea Goat Tarot Spread. I don't know. Seemed right. Felt right. So the what we have is 3 cards. Number 1, the first card is going to be the structure I'm being asked to commit to. Maybe that's a workout structure. Maybe that is a structure where you have something that you want to create, but you know that you need to create time in your schedule around that. The second part of it is the attachment I'm ready to release. Is it time to leave the job that's not working out for you? Is it time to leave a relationship that's not working for you? You know, whatever that attachment it is that you have going on in your life that's just not a good energy anymore. And then the third thing is, what is the legacy that you're building? So the way that we can also interpret this through that veil structure is, what is going to cross that threshold with you for card 1? And for card 2, what is going to stay behind? And for card 3, what emerges on the other side? It's this whole transition from one side to the next. And think about it like this. You can say to yourself, this is veil magic. Choosing intentionally what we carry forward, right? We don't have to carry all of the things from the past forward with us into the future. And I think that when you're doing a spread like this, I love to pair it with crystals, of course. You know me, crystal girly, boop, through and through. So I would suggest either Smokey Quartz, Garnet like I have right here, Onyx, or Pyrite. I'm going to get into the crystals a little bit more in depth coming up, but for now, those are some good options for this season. Now, my son, Finley, he's almost 9. He was born on January 14th. And so he's technically a Capricorn. And as I've been putting this episode together, I'm just like, man, this child of mine does not really display a lot of these typical attributes of Capricorn. And I mean, granted, he is quite young, but still. And then I thought, well, he does have ADHD, and I think that that really affects so many things in his life. And so I was kind of thinking about that, and I was reaching out to some different people about how if they are neurodivergent, or how these things tend to show up for them a little bit differently. And I was just doing kind of a little bit of a deep dive. And I was also reading that Capricorn doesn't always look orderly. Sometimes it can look like hyper focus, which we definitely see in people with ADHD, right? Sometimes it can also look like emotional depth. Sometimes it can look like persistence. Sometimes it is a devotion to what truly matters. So I would love if any listeners are out there and you guys are a Capricorn and you're also dealing with ADHD, I would love to hear from you. That would be so insightful and so helpful for me as a mom. And Capricorn energy isn't about how something looks. It's more about the commitment to that project or that idea or whatever it is that you're trying to pursue. Maybe neurodivergence is a liminal expression. Maybe it's moving between intensity and sensitivity, because I know for sure my son is both. He can be extremely intense and extremely sensitive. And I think that it's really just another form of sea goat magic, really. So let's get into the crystals and correspondences. I have notes. I have a lot of notes. The crystals. Okay, so number 1, Smoky Quartz. Smoky Quartz is in this season good for grounding and for nervous system regulation. Oh my gosh, maybe I should take a bath in it after tonight. Woo, I'm going to hold on to this for now. We have Garnet for stamina and devotion. Onyx, I'm not sure where my Onyx is, so I don't have any with me right now. Also, I have some black Tourmaline for boundaries. Definitely been working on that this year. And Pyrite for leadership and wealth consciousness. These are not crystals that are for instant results. They're for a staying power. We also have other correspondences, such as the metal. We could associate lead. For herbs, we have vetiver, patchouli, cypress. Colors, things such as charcoal, bone, black, and a deep green. And Capricorn is associated with the root and solar plexus chakras. So in closing, let's bring it all home. Capricorn season reminds us that magic does not always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels steady, patient, and deeply rooted in our root chakra. And this veil is magic. It's not flashy. It's not instant, but it's more permanent, right? We're talking about legacy. So just to close things off, maybe you can sit down and do the 3-card tarot spread, or maybe you want to do one or all 3 of these little journal prompts. Number 1, what am I ready to carry through the veil? Number 2, what structures deserve my devotion? Number 3, what legacy am I quietly building? I think this is just kind of a building off of the questions for the 3-card tarot spread. And Capricorn is an initiator. We have the sea goat as our guide, and we have the veil as a sacred threshold. And with all of that, you guys, I want to say thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of Capricorn season. Let's see where all of our dreams and excitement and goals, how we manifest them into the new year. Let's keep our energy high. I would love for you all to share with me what you were working on. That would be so fun. And until next time, my friends. Bye. Thank you so much for spending this time at the threshold with me. If you want to go deeper, follow me on Instagram at mystical.mama.ash, where I share daily crystal magic and behind the scenes of this liminal life. You can also find resources, previous episodes, and ways to work with me at bigcrystalenergy.com. We're also on YouTube at Big Crystal Energy Podcast. And if this episode resonated with you, please rate it and review it and share it with a friend that you think would connect with it. It would mean so much to me in helping build this beautiful community of other magical friends and crystal workers. Thank you so much. Until next time, bye.